right. Hello, everybody. Let me get my script up. All right, so welcome back to your favorite gaming podcast, Middle Age Gaming. Unfortunately, Krian cannot be with us here this week, and seeing as he's kind of the chatty Cathy of our group, that means that Antoine, Phil, and I are going to have to fill in the silence. So it's some pretty big shoes to fill, but we're going to do our best. And with that little introduction, Phil, would you like to fill us in on today's topic?
Yeah, something that's caused controversy frequently in the gaming world, and that's the idea of loot boxes. Because I was coming up with some ideas for game topics for discussion, and loot boxes always seems controversial about whether they are beneficial or they are hindrance, and the risks of people liking them to gambling. So we have all chosen a game today that has some version or form, or whether the game company have chosen to rename them, but in everything else they are loot boxes, even if not in the game company's naming views, which sometimes is done for reasons, which is what I'm going to be looking at anyway. But I don't want to spoil that before we get to it. That is the idea. We've all chosen some good games. Back over to you, Adam.
All right. So what about you, Antoine? Do you want to talk a little bit about loot boxes before we get into the games, or?
Yeah, well, just for me, but you will see I'm not going to spoil too much, but loot boxes for me is way more, or I'm maybe wrong in my impression, but for me it's way more of an Eastern thing rather than a Western stuff. I don't recall games that I did recently or in the past actually with loot boxes. Just to show you, usually we prepare a bit the show in advance, and this time I was like, loot boxes, what game am I gonna talk about? Sorry, am I the only one hearing a weird sound?
No, I'm getting some feedback as well.
Yeah, that's strange. All right, well, so I'm just gonna wait to present my show and tell you about my impression of loot box. Spoiler is not necessarily positive.
Well, if you want to hop right into it, you're first on our list for today.
I am.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Phil went first last week, so you get to go first this week.
Yeah, there's definitely some feedback coming through there.
Really?
Absolutely, yes. I don't know where it's coming from. Yes.
I'm trying to look on the Zencaster audio to see if there's. It doesn't seem to be coming through on there though.
But Antoine's hearing it too.
Oh yes, I am. Krian, if you're watching us, can you tell us? Can you hear properly, or do you hear a little static behind? Or are you already sleeping?
Sorry, guys. This is my second or third time hosting, and the first time hosting multiple people. So hopefully this is going to turn out okay. So far,
it's all right. we forgive you.
All right. Well, apparently they're having some trouble. I seem to be okay. Checking on Twitch right now. My Twitch doesn't seem to have too much feedback, so I don't know.
Well, fine enough, then shall I roll on?
All right, roll on.
Okay. So the game I'm going to talk about is Injustice 2, which was released in 2017, which was published by Warner Bros. And Warner Bros. Interactive, developed by NetherRealm Studios and QLOC. And Injustice, if you don't know this game, is what happens if Superman becomes a bad guy. And I chose this game, first of all, because it was in the list of loot box games that the guy sent me, and I was like, there's loot box in this game? I didn't realize, because I didn't play it. I just watched him in the stream. But I really, really love this game simply because the story is excellent, and it was backed up by a series of comics which were really, really cool. So I really wanted to talk about Injustice. And then, yes, I realized here is a loot box system called Mother Box in the game that you can get by completing missions going along in the game. I think you have characters as DLC. You can buy with in-game money. I don't know actually if you can actually buy loot box with real game money. I tried to check, but I couldn't find this, so not sure about that. And so my impression of loot box here, when I was saying that it's more like Eastern stuff than Western, it's really feel like gacha to me. And I really don't like this feeling that to continue the game, to make your character powerful, it's not just about level up, it's all about chance. You're gambling. So I agree, gambling and having the little loot box, let's see what you're gonna get. It's kind of addictive. I saw it on Tezo, on the Yellow Scroll as well. It's kind of loot boxes things. And I don't like it. I'm not into it. I'm really very old generation, I play the game well. I want to be rewarded with not random stuff. I want to be rewarded with a good weapon, with a good gear and thing. And I don't want to just leave it to chance with some loot box. Yeah, hurt the ears, doesn't it, Jim? Phil? It hurts the ear, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like I don't know why that.
Like a beeping sound?
I'm just going to replug in my headset. But it can't be my headset if it's Antoine as well, so I don't think it's going to help.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Sorry.
You know
Let me check this real quick.
Before the show,
Yeah, I don't know.
when we were talking to each other, it's just to annoy us, just to make sure to say, hey, you're not going to have a nice show tonight. I'm going to destroy your ears.
That's weird.
Do you hear it, Adam?
No, I don't hear it at all.
You don't?
No. So in theory, it should be on my end, but I don't know what's causing it.
I'm trying to turn off my gear, see if it's coming from me, but I don't know why. All right. Any questions on Injustice? I'm sorry. I see this stream is very disturbed. It's all right.
It's okay. I'll fix it in the podcast. People will, they won't hear any of this nastiness. It'll just be nice and clear and seem like like nothing went wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, no, I've always enjoyed the fact that it's called gacha because apparently it comes from gachapon, which is supposed to be the sound of the machines when you go gacha, gachapon. So it's supposed to. That's where the term gacha comes from, is those machines. But I always thought it was like, until I knew that, I always thought it was like gotcha, like, hey, you didn't get what you wanted, So I always thought it was kind of a like completely different. So I thought it was kind of funny. So do you know exactly how the loot boxes work? I mean, so for example, when you open a loot box, like, can you get a skin directly, or do you get like, say, materials that you can turn in for skins?
When you open mother boxes, you can get either, so you have legs, torso, arm, or head. So that's gears. You can have colors to change your skins. After, for different characters, you need DLC. I think it's like Cyborg can turn into Grid, Cheetah can turn into Vixen, or Supergirl can turn into Power Girl. But all of this you have to either buy with in-game money or buy the DLC, or I think you can get Darkseid if you buy. Most of them, I think, if you buy the more expensive version, like the deluxe edition.
Yeah.
Then you get the different skin for additional. It's not a really additional character. It's just you take a character and you change the skin. So it's fun. It's really cheap. You still have your 16 character, and you just take one. You just change your face or change the, like Power Girl and Supergirl. You just change the dress and that's it. So that's really a cheap way to reward people for putting like $20 more on a more expensive version. But okay.
All right. Well, what about you, Phil? You have any questions?
I think I've played Injustice 2 only in that I'm pretty sure it was free to download. It was on PlayStation Plus at some stage. And I remember only playing it briefly because I used to like the beat 'em up type of games, but I don't know. They kind of fell out of favor with me a little bit. And so I didn't really get to invest too much and check out the how it worked with the unlocking characters and with the skins. But I mean, I'm reluctant in the first place to pay for skin unlocks, and it seems even crazier to have you unlock for a loot box system where you might not even get the skin that you want, and then you've got to collect different parts for the skin that you might not want. Seems a mad plan. No? Am I the only one thinking that?
Seems like it to me, yeah.
The loot box and mother box are really just for gears to gear up your character. All the skins, it's really if you pay more when you buy the game. Like if you pre-order, you can have the dark side skin. If you buy the deluxe edition, you can have XY skin. If you link your account, your PS4 account, to the mobile, because Injustice on mobile too, then you have an extra skin, which I think is Vixen, but I'm not sure
So
about that. But anyway, the skins, it's all about money. It's not loot box.
So they're trying to bend you over on both sides then. They're trying to make you pay money for DLC and the extra characters at this stage, and at this side, and they're trying to bang you for the gear unlocked.
And three side, because look at the Switch, look at Mario Bros, like Super Smash Melee. You have all the time like DLC with additional character, but you have actual additional character. Here it's just change of skin. I'm not a big fan of that. Big fan.
Yeah, doesn't sound like very appealing to me either. All right, so I guess is that everybody's said what they want to say about Injustice 2?
I'm trying to think like something that I would try to relate to that a game that I kind of do like would be like Super Smash Brawl on the Switch. And they kind of did like the gear doesn't make a difference. So you're saying they need to, in this Injustice, the gear makes your character better as well?
Yes, they make it look better because everything you change is, you can actually see it appear on the skin. And yes, it does improve your character stats, which to me is why?
So basically, if you're playing online in an online tournament, you pretty much have to have these sets because you're going to be better than other people.
Possibly, actually, I only check the game offline because I never play with people. I'm not a social person really, so I don't really know how it works. But I would assume yes that you need to have the correct gear to. I imagine in tournament they put everybody with the same gear or something to make it fair. But online, otherwise, if you have a character which is max level with all level 10 gears, of course you will have advantage compared to anybody else.
So pay to win almost.
Yes.
I mean, even if you're getting like a 10% advantage with your gear lock, that's going to be a huge amount.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't find actually. Can you actually buy these mother box with real money, or is it just in-game money, or how it works? I didn't check because again I didn't play this game. I just watched the stream because from another French YouTuber called Bob Lennon. Excellent gameplay, and really the story is fantastic. And never at any point in it I didn't see this loot box, and I'm very happy they didn't show it. Because the story doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how Phil said he didn't like the idea of paying for DLC for extra skins, and so I would just have to say to that, never play Dead or Alive, because that game, if you want to unlock all the skins, is something like, I remember somebody did the math and it was like $700 US or like $1,000 US to unlock everything for Dead or Alive 5. Yeah, they just they go
Dead or Alive just
crazy.
Isn't it just a fan service game?
Effectively, yeah.
So you're just spending money to see more nudes.
No, they don't go quite nude. they just push
more
the envelope.
More fan service.
Yeah, for more fan service, exactly. But that's a big industry, so hey, how people want to spend their money, that's up to them. All right. So, Phil, are you ready to talk about your game?
Yes, linking on to it's not a world away from that is EA Sports with and they are probably the one that's brought the most controversy and have even fought these claims in court. So it does give a lot to talk about. Is their run of, I mean, they also do it in Battlefront, but I'm going to focus on FIFA. So everyone knows FIFA. It's around the world, everybody who likes to play football, maybe not our American heathen brothers, but
we like football. What are you talking about? It's soccer that we're not into.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone knows there's loads of gameplay. It's been around 20, 25 years or whatever, possibly even more, and in some form or other. And it's progressed from being just a simple, I play against my friend, and we control the football and you run around a pitch, as the pixels have improved over time and the gameplay has improved. So new content, how they've decided to try and gather people to continue playing and especially spending, is that they designed FIFA Ultimate Team, which was a specific game mode that you could play online. And you would build these teams with almost, think about collectible card games where you would buy a pack, you open the pack, and the pack has a character. Then you would be allowed to use that character in your team. So you would slide them into your team. If you didn't want the pack, then there's an online store where you could, not for real money, but you could trade your characters for the in-game currency to other players. So it's almost exactly like a CCG, and I hate to draw in Hearthstone and other versions of pay-to-play games, but you can get cheap, shoddy packs for free or play your heart out to desperately try and win some of these packs. But it pretty much comes down to, if you've got the money, you can buy the team that you want. The only difference I have, and I've only played Hearthstone a little bit, so it's difficult for me to compare fully. The difference in FUT, though, is you buy the pack, and then the player has a contract length at the bottom. So, and the higher level, the higher rank the player is, the lower their contract length tends to be when you get this card. So the card might say contract length 20 games, which in a football games is about half a season, including friendlies and cup games and European games if you're in those competitions. So you can use contract extensions, which will increase these amount of games that you have this character for, which I generally found, yes, you guessed it, in the loot boxes. So it's almost, trying to keep people addicted. And they've came into a lot of trouble with this. Belgium and Holland, the 2018-19 brought lawsuits against EA and said, you are trying to get these, because FIFA is massive for children to play. Even my young nephews, when they were 12, 13, they're now 18 and 21. Those guys back in those days would be hugely into FIFA 17, FIFA 18 when they brought out this. And there were stories of children going onto their accounts and spending, hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars from their parents' accounts, who were unaware and maybe have linked their accounts to their cards, and then next month found out that their child had bought whatever, 100, 200 of these boxes and ran out of money from their parents' accounts. And it became a pretty big issue. And the court case came, and I was reading through it and skimming through some notes. And EA's counter argument were that these boxes, these packs, they liken them to Kinder Egg surprises. And they said, well, the child gets to open it and who knows what's inside? That's how it works. That's how these things work. That's life, kids. Get used to it. Everything's a Kinder Egg surprise.
It's a life lesson.
Yeah.
I am very depressed by what I'm hearing. So basically, like my kid is really much into like Pokemon cards. So you're telling me that I would buy him Pokemon cards, he doesn't get the Pokemon he wants, and after 20 days, the card disappear.
Mm. Yep.
I'll stay polite, but what the hell?
Yeah. It's like a bigger robbery of those online games where they offer you a card. I mean, I always had a bad feeling about paying for online cards in the first place because it's like, they're digital. It's not even like I've got the card.
Yeah.
I lose my account or stop playing, then I've got nothing. It's not like I can sell on my Pokemon cards in 25 years and maybe some of them will be worth $1,000.
No, I'm not very much into the buy, digital cards, but I know like Japanese games are very much into it, and I know of a few YouTubers who do that I think like some Dragon Ball game mobile, and they spend lots of money on it, but they still have an account with all the cards. Here, what really shocked me on top of this, that the contract length, I buy a card, I give you money, I get a card, but I'm not buying. No, I'm renting a card. I'm renting a card for 20 games. So, how did they come up with this? That's the ultimate robbery.
It's EA. I mean, come on. Weren't these the guys that called loot boxes surprise mechanics? That was
no,
EA, right?
Because
That was EA. Yeah, that was in their court case. That was their defense.
It's a surprise
yeah,
mechanic.
I mean, exactly. I mean, if you're lucky, you have Messi. If you're not lucky, you have a crappy like Bordeaux player. Fair enough. Okay, well, that's crap. That's very bad mechanics. But that's a game. You gamble, and that's why I don't like gacha. But that's a contract. Gacha, you try, and the more money you put, the better the card. Okay, if you want. But the fact that it's for a limited duration, there's just no way. I'm never gonna buy FIFA ever for my kids in my life. I was considering it. No way.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have switched over to Pro Evolution Soccer, which is weird because Pro Evolution Soccer used to be popular before sort of like FIFA 15 or so. Before those days, Pro Evo was the game to go to, and then FIFA overtook it a little bit. And I think now a lot of people are going back to Pro Evo, thinking that EA are just trying to fleece people. But mentioning that, I've got the number figures here. 2020, these Ultimate Team Packs created EA $3,000 a minute, which totaled $1.62 billion, which was 29% of EA's total revenue for the year, just on FIFA Ultimate Team Packs.
Wow.
And how much of that is kids not knowing they are buying stuff?
Or kids sucked into a system where, I've just lost Ronaldo or Messi.
That's punishing. Yeah, that's evil because it's punishing the kids because the parents seeing this, they unlink
buy the Garena cards or whatever, and I mean some of it might even be that where the kids are using their own money, but it's just like their allowance or something like that. But yeah, it's just getting the kids addicted early, like, oh, hey, once I get my money, I immediately spend it on this. So yeah, because they don't have the skills of saving up or any of that, they don't have that yet. And so it might even be some of that where the parents might not even be aware that how much the kids are spending on this thing.
Yeah, you have to put some filters, make sure it doesn't happen. I'm gonna double check my account right after, by the way.
But it's not all doom and gloom. EA have said they've listened to people and they are trialing for a short while preview packs, only temporarily for some competition that's going on at the moment, where you get to see which players are in your pack, and it comes with a countdown timer for you to choose whether you want it before it's gone for good. But they've stipulated that's not a permanent change. They're just trialing the system.
They are not changing the contract length. That stays.
So that says you'll just be able to see which footballers you'll have for a very short time.
Those are still robbery. So
yeah. It's like, but in a way, isn't that almost more enticing? Because it's kind of like, hey, now you know what you're gonna get. You want this. It's kind of like this one has this guy in it or whatever. Yeah, that sounds. I don't know. Yeah.
What's the point? Maybe FIFA. What's the point? You have you get Leo.
You open them, you do have like 10 or 11 or 12 cards. So you're likely to get one like 7-star, and then one like 6 to 7-star, and one or two 5 to 7 stars, and then the rest are whatever 4 or 5 stars. But your players that you're starting off with are maybe like 2 or 3 stars. So if you bought like 2 or 3 of these packs and you shoved it in your team and you went online, or you're playing these in leagues, then you're going to rocket up the system much quicker compared to other people who are just trying the game out.
Say that you spend lots of money and get very lucky. That means that the matchmaking is gonna put you against some whatever Korean player with 2 or 3 times, and then your guy that you had on a 10-game contract is gonna disappear, and you're gonna be super frustrated for playing against a player way too strong for you. I don't know.
So you better get your credit card out and buy more packs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or I take the console straight away in the bin.
All right.
I don't know. Adam, I didn't hear you. What do you think about this robbery? concept.
The way they're doing it is just shady. I think loot boxes can be done right, and I'll get into that when I get into my game. But the way that they're doing it is just, yeah, the fact that everything is temporary to me is just kind of like, oh, guys, like it's one because it's one of those things where you can never be satisfied. You can never like, okay, I'm happy with my team. That'll never happen because that team will be gone in a few days or weeks or whatever, and then you just have to keep, so it's like one of those things where it's weird. Like even if you go to a casino, you can be like, okay, I've doubled my money, I'm good, and walk out and be satisfied with what you have. But here it's like, no, you have it, it'll be gone. You have to, you have to stay in this loop if you want to be able to continuously compete. And I guess if you're the kind of person who plays a lot and you're able to unlock a fair amount of stuff in the game, that's fine. But it seems like you'd have to be really hardcore to be able to maintain that. And so, it seems like, if you have like, say, a college student who's slacking off and he's playing this game, 5 hours a day, he might be fine. But you get that one high schooler or whatever who only gets to play on weekends, and it's like, he wants to, so it just seems to really, or you have that adult who's working most of the time and can only play on weekends, and he has expendable income, and it's kind of like, grinding isn't worth it to me, throw down some money. It just seems predatory.
Yeah, not to mention that FIFA, you might have mentioned it, there's one game every year.
Yeah.
So what's the point grinding FIFA 21 for 1,000 hours when FIFA 22 is just around the corner?
And they're going to change all the mechanics and stuff. Yeah.
Anymore.
Yeah, I know NBA 2K. I don't know if NBA 2K has the same loot box system or not, but I know that I've heard people say, because I have a student who's really big into it, and he would say, like, yeah, you're pretty much recommended to buy it every 2 years. Don't buy it every year. Because usually what they'll do is they'll release it every year, but they might make one small change. But then, by the time, in 2 years, you'll have two small changes, which kind of add up to a bigger change. But yeah, the difference between 2 years is between 1 year and the next year is almost nothing. So he's like, yeah, most people just buy it every 2 years, but you get people that are buying it on the off years. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, on these kind of games, like I like to play Football Manager, and why you buy it every year and why I'm trying not to is because the team change every year.
Yeah.
And you want to play with a proper player from the proper team. If you have a team from 2 or 3 years ago, it's not the same.
Now, last week we were talking about live service games. Do you think that a game like that would benefit more if it was a live service kind of thing where they updated the game every year rather than creating an entirely new game?
So it depends if it's like offline, maybe, because if online doesn't change no matter the version of the game, because in the end it's online and you choose your own player, it's fine. I guess you can have it as a live service, is fine. For off, I'm not sure. Yeah, it would be better to have one game being updated every year, like a season, like a Fortnite season.
Right.
I buy FIFA and season 21, season 22, season 23. I think it would be better as a live service. And it would feel less robbery to buy, like maybe $20 for the next season instead of buying $50 or $60 or $70 for the full game and gacha.
I have a question for Phil. I don't know if he knows this or not. These games, I'm assuming that, so the video we're showing right now is FIFA 2022. If you're playing FIFA 2022, you cannot play with people who are playing on FIFA 2021, right?
Yeah, you can.
So in a way, you're almost that yearly thing is almost kind of forced. It's not like an iPhone where you can continue to use the older iPhone if you don't want to update. Like you have to update or else the crowd is gone and you've got nobody to play with, right? I mean, that's the idea. I'm sure some people stick around, but that's the idea.
Yeah, but I suppose that would be the same argument with something like a Call of Duty or Battlefield or something like that. They tend to bring one of those out maybe not every year, but close enough to seem that way that you've got to just keep buying the newest to play with the teams. But I I have it for my PlayStation,
Oh.
and I only had 2 controllers, but I had 4 controllers for my Switch. So I thought, okay, well, I'll grab it for the Switch as well. And then I found out
Oh
that
no, he double dipped.
yeah, you could buy the 2021 on the Switch, but actually, what you were buying was, I think it was the 2018 or 2019 game, and they actually hadn't updated anything through the Switch since the first release of the FIFA. And actually, they just reskinned everything and just updated the teams every year from 2018 or 2019 through to 20 and 21. So they've basically done what you're talking about having a live service game, but just made you pay the full price of the game every year for the reskin.
Nintendo.
And it's not compatible
Updated
between the
teams.
versions, so you couldn't play with somebody on 2019.
No. Even though it's the same game engine, just with the newest teams.
I mean, if they would let you play with everybody, I would say that's fine in a way, because it's like, okay, if I got the 2019, maybe I just buy like a season DLC or something like that, not a full game, and then you actually have a larger fan base. But if they're actually releasing it and cutting off groups of people, that's insane. That's one thing that always kind of bothered me about things like Guitar Hero or Just Dance, was the fact that they release a new version every year. But then I was fine with that because they actually have a lot of different songs. But the thing is I would have really liked it if you bought, say, the 2020 version, and then if you buy the 2021 version, you can actually import the songs from the 2020 version if you have the license. So that way you don't have to switch between games. But yeah, I know why they did it with the older, like, Guitar Heroes, just because of memory and the way things worked on older systems. But yeah, that would annoy me to no end if it's like, oh, I'm cut out from, there's this huge ocean of people, and we're all in these little lagoons, and we can't cross over. It seems almost.
So the issue with this, though, is I was checking the price, and the reason why I bought 2021 was I was like, well, I'm not going to be playing this online, so whatever, I'll just buy the 2018, 2019, games if I'm just going to get the same repackaged, remodeled version. But there wasn't a whole load of price comparison between them. I was ended up paying whatever it was, like $5 more or something for the $10 more for the recent one. So everything I went online said, don't buy it. Don't buy the updated pack. If you already have any of the ones from the last 2 or 3 years, it's the same game. But if you don't have any of them, don't buy the old ones, because you may as well just pay the extra $5 or $10 or whatever and get the newest one, and at least have all the up-to-date packages. So it kind of puts people in a difficult situation. You're right, where you can't play against the people, your friends. If one person chooses to go out there and buy the recent game for those kit changes and the player changes and the up-to-date things, then everybody in your whole social network have then got to update in order to play together.
Yeah, you have to update too.
Just takes that one awkward person to go, look, I bought the new game, and then everybody has to really do it. Yeah.
All right.
It left me with a serious distaste in my mouth, because I do tend to always play FIFA, but I went around to James's to help him set up the PlayStation, which was my PS4, which I reset, and we got Pro Evo instead, and we were playing that because you could get Pro Evo Lite, like a demo version, for free, and you could get the most recent Pro Evo game for like $5 US or something, $6 US, but FIFA cheapest was 25 or something. So it's like, oh, this is no comparison.
Before we move on, Phil, what's your favorite team?
I'm a Manchester United fan.
Of course. I know. I prefer Man U. I don't like City anyway. But Arsenal's best anyway.
I have no opinion. As an American.
Okay. So next podcast.
Okay, yeah, next podcast we can get into a fight over which football and or soccer teams are the best.
No, it's okay. I like French football, not British. I like to watch British, but I don't care really if it's City or you.
As long as they're losing.
Sorry, Phil. Yeah, well, I'm always winning anyway.
All right, so then I'll move into my game. I am covering League of Legends, which is actually quite old at this point. It was originally released back in, I can't see it now. Hang on. Let me bring it up. Fortunately, I think it's going to knock you guys out. There we go. Okay. So it originally came out on October 27th, 2009. So this is quite an old game. It's kind of interesting because in a way, League of Legends You've probably heard of Dota 2. So Dota, DOTA, stands for Defense of the Ancients, which was originally a Warcraft 3 mod that somebody had created. So they created this mod, Defense of the Ancients, and the team that made Defense of the Ancients decided that they wanted to actually make their own game. So they ended up trying to make a game, but because Defense of the Ancients was used in the Warcraft 3 mod, something about some of the people went one way, some of the people that went the other way. Most of the people went to Riot Games and created League of Legends, whereas I guess some of the other creators went and created Dota 2 and got to keep the name, even though League of Legends apparently had more of the original team. But anyway, this game is, like I said, it's been out since 2009. It's gone through several different updates, but the core gameplay is basically the same. And right around the time that I stopped playing, and the reason we stopped playing was because the game itself is actually pretty solid, but it has one of the worst communities in gaming. I think the people usually rank the Minecraft community as number 1 for being the most toxic, and then League of Legends is number 2 or something like that. And Roblox is right up there too. So, but so we ended up having to quit because we did have a person in our team who was he had anxiety, and just some of the online trolling and stuff was just, he just had trouble handling it, and his doctor actually told him stop playing that game. It got so bad. But anyway, around the time that we stopped playing, they introduced these things called I believe they're called hex gear boxes or whatever. And originally in the game, what you do is at the end of each match, you earn a certain number of what they call RP, or riot points, and you can use these to buy characters, and characters have different prices. You know, older characters are usually cheaper, newer characters are more expensive. And if you play pretty consistently, you can actually earn these points at a relatively consistent pace. So you could also buy the characters with real money. So that was an option, and you could buy skins with real money. So skins you could only get through real money, whereas you could unlock characters in game. And around the time we stopped, they introduced these loot boxes, and it was weird because they had loot boxes and they had keys. So you had to earn one of each. And you could earn them all in game, or you could buy them. And if you earn them in game, you're limited to 4 boxes a month. So you can't have more than 4. And whereas you can buy as many as you want. But the thing is when you open up the loot box, it'll give you a card, and the card will be either a character card or a cosmetic card. And so the character cards are obviously designed to unlock characters, and the cosmetic cards are designed to unlock skins. And what you can do is you can either there's a way that I don't remember the exact mechanic on it, but you can basically rent the card. So you can activate this card. It's called a shard. And you can activate a shard, and then you get access to that character. You earn these cards. You can break the cards down, and then use the shards you get from those to turn cards into permanent things. Just permanent characters, permanent skins, permanent, ward skins, and that sort of thing. So basically anything that you could buy things in the game directly, not through loot boxes. You could just directly buy them. So you say, I want that skin, I pay, $5 for it, or I pay $2 for it, or whatever. Or you could play the game, get these boxes, and then unlock the skins that way. And of course, you can buy the loot boxes as well. So it's one of those things where in theory, if you use the loot box method, you could get something for cheaper than you could if you just paid for it directly. So if you pay for it directly, it might cost you $5. If you're lucky with loot boxes, it might only cost you $2. But there's no guarantee you're going to get what you want. So you kind of have some options there. And I think that I actually liked this system. I thought it was good because people have that option of just paying direct. If I want something, I just pay for it, and I'm guaranteed to get what I want. These loot boxes can be earned in game. I don't have to pay a certain amount of money for them if I want these. I can earn everything, through just this random generation, including skins, which we originally couldn't do. And also because I think, for me, part of the reason it was okay is because the game League of Legends is entirely free to play. You don't have to pay anything. It's entirely free. And the other reason that I thought it was okay was because, I mean, you can rent characters using these cards, but they always have characters on this constant rotation where every week they have, I think, 7 or 8 characters that are free to play. And they change it week to week. So unlike a game like Apex where you buy the game or you get the game, which is free, and then you have your starting characters and you have to unlock all the other characters. In this one, every week they have a different set of free characters. So you can try out characters when they become free, and if you like them, then you can basically save up your points from winning matches, and then you can buy that character using the in-game currency. Or you could, if you get the card for them through these loot boxes, you can I'm going to hold on to this card so that I can, prioritize unlocking this guy earlier. And so for me, I thought that was actually one of the few times that I thought loot boxes are done right, because seeing as the game is free, they need to make money off of it somehow. And so I thought that doing that is basically the exception that I would make when I think microtransactions are okay, is because you're giving people an option where you're saying, we have games that you can buy and you just pay money and you get the game, or we have games that you can get for free, kind of like Hearthstone, right? And if you're enjoying it, you can spend money on it, but you don't have to. You can just play the game, and you'll get things maybe a little bit slower, but you can, depending on how much you play, it might not necessarily be that much slower than other people who kind of play casually. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty good system. I thought it was great. I really like the idea that A, the game is free, B, the game cycles through which characters are free, so you're never completely locked out of trying a character. You get to test out a character, decide if you like them or not. And then also, I thought that the loot box system that they have right now, where you can use it to unlock a character or you can use it to rent a character, I thought that was a really good idea, because, if somebody has a character that they've been interested in playing, and that character just, because they have like 200 characters, they got so many characters. I'm pretty sure this is Korean on here. He's saying, damn, this is so flashy, in the comments. But I really think that, the fact that you can rent a character if you want to test them out, I think that's a really good thing. So, I mean, Riot Games has definitely been in a lot of hot water, similar to what Blizzard's going through right now, for similar reasons that Blizzard's going through it right now. But the game itself, I think, is pretty solid, and I definitely enjoyed playing it while I did. So sometimes I'm kind of like, I'd love to go back, but this is definitely the kind of game where you want to play with friends, because as I've said, the community is, I shouldn't say is, can be extremely toxic. So playing solo can be a bit of a pain. But yeah, so your guys' thoughts, opinions?
Well, to me, as you put it, it feels more fair. I'm walking on eggshell here, because what I keep hearing is it's free.
Yep.
But it's still pay to win.
It's not pay to win.
If you are playing, we are middle-aged gamers. We don't have 1,000 hours to put. So if you're a young player and you play very consistently and hard, yes, maybe that's fine for you. For us, we'll never be able to win or to keep up with someone who pays. And I really see these kind of gimmicks on a mobile game. You see this on Android and Apple all the time. And I'm very happy for them to stay there, because I'm not playing a mobile game like this. And sure, League of Legends is fantastic, but no, that's just, there's no way. Don't want to go into this kind of loot box gimmicks. That's just really blacklisted in my mind. If I have this kind of gimmicks, then thank you, goodbye. I'm gonna go to see another game.
It's not pay to
I
win.
understand they need to make money. No, I understand they need to make money. I do, and it really feels fair, especially when you heard what Phil talked about on FIFA, which I'm still disgusted about. And they make money of it. Great game. They found a way which is pretty fair. Okay, I mean, I'll give them a pass, but I'm not buyer. That's it.
Yeah, you don't have to spend any money in this game. The only thing that arguably, and this is kind of a funny thing, I don't know if they still do it, but the only thing that could arguably give somebody an advantage is that you can you could pay for boosts so that you could level faster. And so as you level your character up, they have like a skill tree, like a tech tree, like what you would have with your characters in World of Warcraft or something like that. So, you can choose to upgrade, I want a little bit more defensive, or I want to be a little more offensive, or that sort of thing. But in a way, I always thought that was kind of a weird system because you can level up faster. But the thing is as you level up, you're going to be matched with people of your level. And because you didn't play, you're gonna, if you're playing normally, you're getting experience in the sense that you're playing it, you understand the mechanics of the game, and so you're learning the game. And so if you get this level boost, it's like you're, in a way, yeah, it's like, yeah, you're going up into the higher competition faster, but you don't have the like personal experience of knowing how to play. So it's kind of like, why would you ever want to do that? Why would you ever want to, it's kind of like saying like, oh, hey, can I I want to take a university courses, and I want to, normally a university course is say 40 hours. Well, I'll pay money so I can finish all my courses in 20 hours. And it's like, yeah, but then by the time you get to level 3, you haven't learned as much as people who've done levels 1 and levels 2. So
there are extended courses like this,
yeah. So Korean's asking,
harsher.
yeah, so Korean's asking, you can spend money to buy the strongest characters. And the thing is this game doesn't necessarily, quote unquote, have the strongest characters. All the characters are intended to be balanced. It's supposed to be like Street Fighter or something like that. So even the older characters, what they'll do is sometimes if there's they're constantly nerfing or buffing characters. So there's no quote unquote strongest characters. I mean, there are characters that if you're playing in the meta, where people will say like, oh my God, this character is overpowered. And so everybody wants, that character on their team. No, there are no tiers of heroes. There are no, I mean, there's tiers and there's unofficial tiers in the sense that, players will say like, oh, this guy's tier 1, this guy's tier 2. But in terms of actual gameplay, there's no 100 RP a match. So you could win that character after 5 matches. Well, that character could then get a rework, in a patch. And that character might then become, a higher tier. So then people might be like, oh my God, this character's great now. But that character's price doesn't go up. They still remain at 500 RP. So you play 5 matches, you can unlock that character. Whereas newer characters will tend to be something like, say, 3,000 RP. So you'd have to play roughly 30 matches to unlock that character. So there's no real, it's not like stat-wise, character random. Like, so for example, you might have one new character who comes out, and that character is like I don't think they use these terms anymore, but they used to call them bruisers, tanks, was it ADC, and there's attack damage carry and magic damage carry, pretty much. And so what you would have is you would have your ADC, your your magic carry, a support, a tank, and a jungler. And so you might have a character, but they're not necessarily designed to overturn the meta. And a lot of times they're designed to fit into the meta. Like, this character is going to be a tank. So this is another tank option that you have if you like playing a tank. This character is a jungler. If you like playing jungler, this is another option you might want to look into. So it's more like that. It's kind of like if you're playing a game like, say, Street Fighter, and you really like a character like Zangief, who hits really hard, but he's kind of slow, right? And so then they release a new character who's also kind of big and kind of slow, but has a different set of attacks than Zangief. So if you like that style of character, you might also want to try this guy. It's more like that. But he isn't inherently better than Zangief, with the exception of some characters come out completely broken. But it goes both ways, where sometimes you get a new character and this character is just completely way too powerful and ends up getting nerfed the first patch that comes out after them. And you get other characters that come out and they're just like, they're fun to play, but they just aren't helpful at all. So it's really, it's kind of random. Yeah, so for me, it was okay because it's there's no tier, there's no like official tier of characters. I mean, it's unofficial, but it's in the same sense as if you're playing, say, Skyrim, where people say, oh, the stealth archer is clearly the best build. It's the easiest build to play. if you want to play mage, that's fine. It doesn't necessarily mean if you enjoy playing the mage, mage can be just as much fun. You can have just as much fun with it. But just the way that stealth archery works in Skyrim is just, the optimal build. And it's the same here where characters come out and it's like this character is clearly a tier 1 player. So if you look at competitive play, you're going to see this player a lot. Whereas other characters you're never going to see in competitive play. But in casual play, you'll see pretty much everybody used because people are just playing for fun.
Yeah, I wanted to ask because LoL is pretty much esport game, right?
It very much became an esport game, yeah.
Yeah, does lootbox influence the esport game, or it's just
no? The loot boxes don't influence it at all because the loot boxes, the only things they do is they give you skins, so that changes the look of a character, which isn't going to affect your esports at all. And the other thing is it's one method for unlocking characters, which if you're playing esports, you're going to be very familiar with this character. Maybe you unlock this character playing loot boxes. Maybe you unlock this character just by saving up in-game currency and then buying them. But it's not going to impact that at all because if you're playing at that level, you probably have most of the characters unlocked anyway just by having enough money. Or all the characters that you want, you're going to have pretty much unlocked just by in-game currency. Like I said, for a newer character, if you're playing, you could unlock a newer character after 30 matches or so. If you're playing, and then a new character comes out maybe every month. So if you're playing 30, if you're playing, say, 2 matches a day, by the time the next character comes out, you can buy that character. You don't even need loot boxes. You've saved up enough in-game currency that you can just buy them straight out. And at that point, the only thing loot boxes are good for you is for skins if you don't want to pay real-world money for them. That's the only thing you're going to get out of them at that point.
All right.
Yeah, so...
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right.
Never played it. Never played this one. I've got good friends in Final Fantasy 14, and the most toxic of them tend to also be players of League of Legends.
Like I said, League of Legends is one of the most toxic. That's the thing is people say if you're new to it, put it on mute. Do not engage. Do not see what people are saying. Just wait for people to ping something on the map. Don't listen to the chat at all because that is the one real downside to this game is the community is just extremely toxic. And I think part of that...
Are they super young?
A lot of them are super young, but part of that seems to be also because the game being free that people can be toxic. And if they get permanently banned, they just start a new account. They don't... It's not like if you get permanently banned from something like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14, you have to buy the game again. Basically, you have to create a new account and rebuy the game. So there's a monetary investment here. In this game, if you get banned permanently or temporarily, you can just, use a fake email, to go make a random email, create a new account, and then you can jump back in. So because of that, it's really hard to de-incentivize people not to be complete trolls. So that's why I say if you are going to play this game, do play it with friends, where you can just ignore team chat. As team chat, everybody in team chat. So. But yeah.
All right.
So we got any more comments? We have like 3 minutes officially.
No, I'm good.
Phil?
Not really. I'm just... I don't really know either of those are the games. And I still believe that EA Sports has the worst loot box system out there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think loot boxes can be done right, but only if you have other options. And that's part of the reason why I like League of Legends is because the loot boxes, most people don't even use them. They just ignore them. When they pop up, they'll use them, but otherwise they're just saving up in-game currency. And loot boxes are just kind of a thing on the side. And like I said, it's one of those things where if you're not paying, you can't buy them at all. It's just buying that sort of thing. So in that sense, I think they found a good balance between... loot boxes are purely there on the side. It's not the main focus, which I feel like a lot of games now, especially like, was it the Battlefront 2, FIFA seems to be doing this. Loot boxes are right front and center. This is how you get the stuff, whereas in League, it's more of, off to the side. This is a way to get stuff, but it's not the main way to get stuff. It's not the way that we're intending.
I mean, I still think all in all, from all of what I've heard, because you tend to be, well, apart from League of Legends, paying for these games in some way.
Yeah.
They're not as bad as, say, mobile phone games. Those pay to win things are
No.
crazy. I'm Warhammer and Conquest. A guy in my alliance of 50 people. He's just cracked the $10,000 spent on the game, on a free to play game. And I just think 10,000 US dollars. Yeah, and I'm just like, seriously, like and that's in like 1 year. 1 year he spent $10,000. I was like, that money could be spent so much better in many other ways. And he's like, well, whatever, I spend my money how I want it. I'm like, well, yeah, okay, fair enough. But
What does he do for a living? I want his job.
Like a AC repairman.
Oh yeah, they make a lot of money actually. Yeah, that's the thing is like a lot of these, especially the mobile ones, like say something on Genshin Impact, you do have tiers of characters, or like FIFA, where you have certain players that are inherently better. And I know a lot of apparently now, have you guys heard of the pity system? PITY pity?
No.
A lot of games are now implementing pity systems where they say so like Genshin Impact has it, they say for every 100 unlocks, if you have not gotten a 5-star character or weapon, we will give you a 5-star character or weapon. But 100 unlocks is a lot of unlocks. No.
Isn't it just adding insult to injury?
It is adding insult to injury.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Pretty
you
much.
Get it. Here's a card for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
You think Final Fantasy 14. Oh, you want this mount? Oh, it's fine. 99 kills, and we'll give you the whistle for free.
Yeah, you beat this thing for 99 times. That was actually another thing that I didn't mention on League of Legends that they do is, they release all the odds online, but they also release all the systems that they have online. So they'll say, like, for example, you get, they'll say, like, if you haven't gotten a character card in this or if you haven't gotten a character card for, say, a character you've already unlocked for a skin in, say, and it's actually pretty generous. They'll say like 5, for every 5 we guarantee it'll be for a character that you have unlocked or something like that. I don't remember the exact mechanics are, but yeah, a lot of times, they're now implementing these pity systems. But looking at Genshin Impact, it's 100 unlocks, and I played the game for like the first month that it came out, and because it was the first month, they were being very generous and giving people stuff to get them kind of started. And I think I only had like 20 unlocks on the free stuff, and it was just like, oh man. And that was them being generous. And I'm like, oh no, I'm never going to reach this 100. So, yep. All right. Well, it looks like we're wrapping up the show then, right around time. So next month, we are going to be talking about esports, correct? All right, so I'll have to figure out something else because I already talked about League of Legends this week, so we're gonna have to talk about a different esport next week.
Dota 2.
Yeah, Dota 2. I don't know too much about Dota 2 actually, so but yeah,
StarCraft.
Yeah, or StarCraft. Yeah, do they still do StarCraft tournaments? I'm sure they do, right?
Yes, StarCraft is massively huge. Yeah,
I know.
I was going to do FIFA. Now I've already done FIFA. That was a mistake.
Why is it that all the loot box games are the ones that are also the esports games?
That's a trend.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Maybe it's because the esports are just so popular that they know that people are going to watch them, and then therefore, let's go in with loot boxes. But yeah, so we're going to do that next week. So until then, let's go ahead and say, okay, so that's all the time we have for today. And don't forget to get into contact with us. You can see all of our connections at the bottom of the screen if you're watching the show. If you're listening to the podcast, though, that is Twitter @GamingAged, Twitch Middle Age Gaming 2020, YouTube Middle Gaming, and Facebook Middle Age Gaming 2020. So if you guys go ahead and check those out, then we should be great. And yeah, you guys want to say anything else before we go?
Yeah, if you're listening to a podcast, make sure you watch the video so you can have actually a face on these beautiful voices. And don't forget to share this video or podcast to your friends and family. And if we're a bit lucky, we can quit our regular job and become, real official middle-aged YouTubers. Hopefully, in a long time.
It's the dream.
Anyway.
Bill's got a face here, but he's like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of hassle.
All right. All right. So, Phil, anything you want to say before we go?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, we're all good then. Okay. So, thanks for coming, and we will see you all later. Make sure. Oh wait, I will be streaming. I think because of the summer, I'm going to be a little bit busy, so I might only be streaming on Mondays and Fridays, as opposed to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What about you guys? What's your streaming schedule looking like?
Usually, if I can, Tuesday and Thursdays, that will be Spellcaster University for the summer, and hopefully Tales of Arise for September, October.
All right, Phil.
Vermintide tomorrow. Wait, what day is it today? Yeah, Vermintide tomorrow, Wednesday. And like I said, I'm going to wait for Battlefleet Gothic Armada before it goes on sale. I was going to do last Sunday, but I slept for 20 hours and missed the whole of Sunday. So yeah, we'll try again this Sunday.
All right, so if Phil's awake, make sure you check him out. And Antoine will most certainly be here. All right, so everybody, thanks for coming, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.